All right, really quickly, we are going to talk about parallel and perpendicular lines. Parallel, right, like this, perpendicular, like that, like that. Those are the symbols because mathematicians be lazy and we don't want to write out really long words when we can just use a symbol that involves two lines. So the idea here, the main idea is that the slopes are the same. And with for parallel lines, and the slopes here are negative reciprocals. And that's a complicated phrase that means if one of them is negative m over n, then the other one is going to be m over n. See, one's negative, one's positive, and then the fractions are flipped. Let's go ahead and do some examples though, because abstract can be a little confusing sometimes. So if we have the line y is equal to 2x minus 5 and the line y is equal to 2x plus 7, what I'm saying is that just by looking at the slopes, so that's the number next to the x, we can determine how these lines are related. Here the slope is 2. Here the slope is also 2. They're equal, so these are parallel. Yay! All right, and let's go ahead and do another one. Let's say that we have the equation y is equal to 2/3 x plus 4. And another equation, y is equal to 3/2 x minus 7. Looking at these two equations, we have the slope here. Oops, I need it to be my highlighty one. These slopes are reciprocals, right? 2/3 and 3/2. But one of them isn't negative, so these ones are neither. Because they're both positive, so they're not negative reciprocals, but they are reciprocals, so they're not the same slope. That's neither. Our last one would be an example of, oops, like this. All right, so here we have our two slopes. This one is -2, and this one is +1/2. But if you recall, the way that we write a fraction for a whole number is you just put that whole number over 1. So these are totally negative reciprocals, which means these lines, oops, are definitely perpendicular. Their slopes are negative reciprocals to each other. The last thing that you would do with equations like this is, let's say that you are given an equation, like I give you the equation y is equal to 3x minus 5, and I say write the equation of the line, and let's do parallel to this. That goes through the point and then we can pick any point we want, like 2, -1. So what we would do here is we would have this 2 represent the x, right? The x one, and we would have this -1 represent the y one, and we are going to use the form y minus y1 is equal to m times x minus x1. That's our point slope form, if you've forgotten. The last piece of information that we need is the slope. But the slope is the idea that this is parallel to this one, so the slope is just going to be 3, right? So our m here is 3, because they're the same. So we're going to go ahead and substitute all those there. So we're going to put our slope there. We're going to put our y1 here. Careful with your negative sign. We're going to put our x1 there. So let's go ahead and do that. So we have y. Oops. Keep on forgetting to switch to the proper pen. y minus, and then -1. Two negatives, right? One from the equation form, one from the fact that it's -1. Careful there. Is equal to, and then we have our m of 3. And then we have x minus, our x1 is 2. So we're going to go ahead and simplify this a little bit. A couple of things we can do to simplify. First one, of course, is we have these two x's right here, right? Not two x's, we have these two negatives right here. And we also have this distribution that we're going to do. So I'm going to do both of those steps at once because I don't have a whole lot of space. Oops. So we have y plus 1 is equal to 3x minus 6. Last step, actually, we only have one more step to do, is to use inverse operations to get the y entirely by itself by moving that 1. So we'd have y is equal to 3x minus 7. Ta-da! The end. Happy days. We did it. The only thing that would be different if this had said, so like let's say instead I had said, no, we don't want it to be parallel, we want it to be perpendicular. Then the only thing that would have changed is if then you would not have a slope of 3, you would have a slope of -1/3. But it is otherwise the same thing, okay? Well, if you have questions, let me know. I'm at home all the time. See ya.